You're watching Drake Queen Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drake Queen Gaming. It's 70 Mounts Wood of the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Polar Night. So let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up and let's go. Alrighty. I placed a drop, slightly soothing the burning, but the pain continued. Thankfully, it wasn't a thunderclap. Gale seemed to notice me struggling. I tried to... wrong voice, alright. I placed a drop, slightly soothing the burning, but the pain continued. Thankfully, it wasn't a thunderclap. Gale seemed to notice me struggling. I tried to give a crooked smile and thumbs up to reassure her. I think we should rest on it first. Tabby. Okay. How the hell are we supposed to sleep here? It's like a meat locker in here. I am not convinced sleeping is the best option right now. Look, we're all tired, even if some of us aren't willing to admit it. She gave Tabby a pointed look, who tutted and rolled her eyes, but did not argue back. She briefly met my eyes, seemingly asking silently for my permission to use myself as another case in point. I grimaced. I didn't want to be a burden. Plus, Garret nearly died a few hours ago. Good old Dana, always giving a fuck about diplomacy. And we all got woken up by a fire and the Sylvia sinking. And I think we could all stand a few hours to get some shut-eye. I will stand to watch in that case. I'll remain on bridge. We'll give a good view of our surroundings. There could be other survivors from the Sylvia. Who else was on the fucking Sylvia? An awkward pause followed as we awaited more from him, but Joseph simply stood, staring down Sharif. I can stay up too. I'm used to... No, you need to sleep. He snapped at her, surprising not just the rest of us, but June herself. He paused, then deflated, closing his eyes and rubbing his face. I'm sorry, June. I appreciate your offer, but I must insist you rest. You had a bad scare on the Sylvia. And I'll take second watch. A few exasperated groans went up, typical of Rufus to use this as an opportunity to chest beat. Then I saw his expression. I couldn't place it. He was staring down Joseph, watching him closely. Joseph, for his part, continued to demonstrate his supernatural talent for hiding his true emotions. He met Rufus's gaze evenly, arms by his side, seemingly unmoved. A few tense moments passed before Sharif, with a heavy sigh, pinched his brow with one hand while the other clenched and unclenched at his side. Very well. If we are agreed, we can shelter for the remainder of the night. I cringed as I anticipated another round of insufferable bickering, but this time, amazingly, no one objected. Then I suggest we sleep here, in the mess hall. The crew already built shelters here, so... But there's only enough room for 5 people here. We all looked around at the makeshift shelters. She was right. I'll take a cabin. I don't think there's anyone left to object. Really like the music. Me too. Gale glanced at her sister before sighing. I guess I'm for the cabins too. Aaron shrugged, and before anyone could say anything, he stalked out, slamming the door behind him. A tense silence followed before Sharif cleared his throat. If Joseph is taking first watch and Rufus the second, I shall take third watch. Please remember to wake me when the time comes. He directed this at Rufus, who simply nodded. Very well. I wish you all a good night. His words were so absurd I almost laughed, but with my eyes so clinging I wasn't in any mood for levity. Gale gave me a strange smile before following Tabby out the door. I don't know how long we each worked on getting our claimed sleeping spot in order. I didn't have my phone, I didn't have a watch. We each started to hunker down. June stood with Joseph near the door, murmuring, holding hands. A piece of me felt a sudden burning jealousy at their intimacy, their bond. Dana and Sharif worked silently, shaking and patting frost off the thin mattresses and taking a small candle heater to place near them. I was surprised by how much warmth they gave off, but whether it would be enough... The door squeaked and I heard heavy... I'm doing the wrong voice. The door squeaked and I heard heavy hoofsteps departing, followed by June despondently walking to her own shelter. I slipped under the cover, pulling my hood up. I hadn't realized just how cold I was until I felt my ears burning, the heat returning to them, revealing how they'd become numb from the chill. Despite how thin and uncomfortable the mattress was, and how nagging at the back of my mind was though that a dead person had last slept here, my eyelids were suddenly heavy. The thought of falling asleep and simply passing away, never to Waking sent a brief pang of terror through me. Would it hurt? Or would I simply blink out of existence like a bad dream ending? I closed my eyes, trying to put it out of my mind. My shivering calmed as my body heat was able to win over the merciless chill, helped by the blanket, my clothes, and the small heater. But even just that small amount of warmth was enough to soothe. My breathing slowed. The lead-like weight of fatigue pushed me quickly into a dreamless slumber. Isn't there be horrific nightmares? A low roar and the sound of things banging roused me. As my eyes opened for a moment, I thought I'd finally lost sight of my good eye. My tongue felt like sandpaper and my throat felt like it was closing. My stomach growled, clenching and writhing. How long had it been since my last meal, my last drink? The lantern had gone out at some point in the night. Fumbling around, I gripped my torch with relief and turned it on. Dana's back was still towards me. I could hear her deep, even breathing. She must still be asleep. I sighed, thankful my eye had stopped hurting. A tiny amount of moonlight seeped in through the windows, coated in frost as they were. Another blizzard, or at least a heavy wind, had started up. The sounds of things slamming and creaking were distant, but were unsettling nonetheless. My nose was frozen once more, and the cold had seeped through my flimsy blanket. I figured I should find some fuel for the lantern. My very bones ached as I forced myself upright. I slowly pushed myself to my paws, grabbing my empty lantern. My torchlight lit the room. I angled it away from Dana so as not to disturb her. Slowly I made my way to the table where the food was. The lantern there had also gone out during the night, but it had given enough heat to thaw some of the water bottles. Without thinking, I pulled the bottle out the crate and wrenched the top off, taking deep gulps. The icy cool water robbed me of what little warmth I still had, but damn did it feel good. I nearly choked on small amounts of slushy ice. Evidently it hadn't thawed entirely. I could feel it sitting in my stomach, chilling me. Part of me felt a pang of guilt as I lowered the now-drained bottle. The crate had a lot of water, but between 10 people it might not last as long as it first seemed. The food crate held 14 cans, soups, meat, vegetables, and fruit. A decent variety, I suppose, but with 14 cans between 10 people. Even if we only ate half a can each, that was 2 days, plus less than half a can each for day 3. I scanned the calorie labels on a few of them. Not unsubstantial under normal circumstances, but the precise opposite of normal. In fact, in cold like this, I can only imagine we burned this much just trying to stay warm. Gail might know more about that. She did suggest rationing. My stomach protested again and tied itself in knots as I saw the tin of processed meat. Real meat. The only people here who would eat it was me, Dana, June, and Stefan. The tin had a ring pull. I could open it, take a bite, just to calm my stomach, make it easier to sleep. No. With gritted teeth, I put it back, a little harder than I should have. It took a few moments to steady myself. Tomorrow, when everyone wakes up, we can ration things, just a few hours. I chuckled darkly as my frame can attest. I was no stranger to eating light. The lantern, it needed refilling, if only for a source of heat. As I reached for the kerosene, my torch beam swept across the shelters. That was when I noticed. Rusif, Joseph, and Sharif were all missing. June was sleeping soundly at the far end of the room, and Dana hadn't stirred. I thought Rufus was second watch and Sharif was the third. So why were all three missing? Putting my lantern down, I gripped my torch and swept the room, trying best not to disturb the 2 women sleeping. No sign of them. Were they all on watch? My stomach did another flip, but not from hunger. I'd seen the way the 3 of them were nearly at each other's throats. Despite my exhaustion and gnawing hunger, I decided I needed to search. The bridge was where they were supposed to stand watch. I pulled my hood up, cut my muzzle in a hand, and breathed heavily to try and warm up my nose, and slipped out through the door. It was hard to tell the time, given the near-constant darkness, and now more than ever I'd wish I had a watch. My hand grasped a pack of smokes as I started to pull it out. I remembered my missing lighter. My heart clenched at the thought of sitting in the bottom of the ocean. I cursed loudly, don't care if it would hurry. Let me pour this in there, y'all. There we go. Okay. I could light up with a lantern, I suppose, but the thought of Grandpa's lighter for lost forever. Now in an even fouler mood, I shoved my hands back into my pockets and continued my way toward the bridge. I had several flights of stairs above me, and I was not looking forward to walking up icy steps. The stairs further away from the exterior access points were generally less hazardous than those closer to the outside, but even a thin layer of frost could make for poor footing. Each step I took up the narrow passage to the bridge felt heavier and heavier, despite my thick, warm clothing. Every moment I took felt like I was moving through tar. The unrelenting cold was a constant drain on my energy. Even pausing to catch my breath required effort. The icy chill hurt my throat and lungs. I really needed to stop smoking. Finally, I arrived at the narrow stairs leading to the bridge. I couldn't hear anything except the wind. They reassured me at least they weren't at each other's throats. My stomach growled loudly again as I pushed through the slightly ajar door. "Hey, how's it going?" Oh, shit. Oh, my God. The instant I stepped through the door, the stench of iron filled my nostrils and made me gag. I stared, open-mouthed, at the scene of devastation before me. Streaks of fresh blood stained the floor, the window, even the overturned seat. I tried to call out, but all that I could manage was a choked squeak. My blood felt like it had been replaced with ice. My eyes scanned the dark, crimson streaks, my torch beam slowly passing over them. My ears swiveled, trying to tune out the hammering of my heart. I didn't even know what I was listening for. Growls, pulse steps, heavy breathing. I backed out, my torch beam swinging wildly back and forth, and that was when I saw it. The briefest of moments behind a control console. My torch beam passed over. It could only have been... I let loose a scream of primal terror and turned, almost throwing myself down the steps. I sprinted as fast as my legs could carry me. I didn't even have a destination in mind initially, just away from there. I felt like my heart was going to burst in my chest. Even now, several decks down, I could taste the iron, sickeningly warm stench of blood. I burst into the mess hall, panting. "Everyone, please!" I saw the jerking twitches of June and Dana being jolted awake. June moaned, turned over and away from the light. Dana opened her bleary eyes and met my gaze. I couldn't quite put into words what happened next, except that once she met my gaze, understanding passed between us. Within moments, she was upright, throwing off her covers. "What happened? What's wrong?" "The bridge! Someone! So much blood!" I could scarcely speak the words. The burning in my lungs from the near unbroken sprint from the bridge left me breathless, and the lingering stench in my nose made me want to throw up. Dana dashed over to me as June leisurely stretched and started to pull off her covers. The tigress gripped my shoulders and spoke to me like I was a child. Dana, Garret, what happened? What's going on? Is it morning? Garret, you stink of... She met my eyes even as my mouth flapped open to try to describe what I saw. She knew. "Take me there." Her voice was firm and uncompromising. I might have been resentful in any other circumstance. Her commanding tone was somewhat reassuring. It cut through the primal terror. The bridge. I choked out the words as June approached, her expression morphing from quizzical to horrified. "What about the bridge? Is Joseph okay?" The rising panic in her voice caused Dana to snap, shaking me by the shoulders. Snap out of it, Garret! Take us there, do you understand?" I gulped at her, my mind frozen by fear, but I swallowed and gestured to the door. It was the blood. "Garret!" She shouted in my face, gripping my facial fluff and forcing me to meet her piercing gaze. "Get a grip! Take us there right fucking now!" She shoved me to the door. June glanced between us with dawning horror. I pushed the doors open, and with a heart beating wildly with fear, I led them back to that horror. Alright, I'm going to pause it right there. Good place to leave it off at. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. I love you all, and I shall see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!